Dr. Ömer Aktaş will be speaking about the practices of the Emirates of Umayyad during the Sufyani period. Distinguished participants, distinguished scholars and chairperson, I hope this symposium will bring fruitful results for all the people. And I'm so happy to be here in this symposium. I'd like to start with a sentence. The religious history is different from the political life in Umayyad state. So they tried their best to perform their period in terms of Hajj organization. There was this Hajj organization started during the the Prophet Ismail period. The belief is that, but actually the administration of Kaaba was carried out during the period of Ismail, the Prophet Ismail, and the people from Yemen and people from Habesh, they were all trying to carry out this organization of Hajj. And the Prophet Muhammad has endeavored a lot for this Hajj organization there. The organization is a religious one, but this was acknowledged by those people at those times a bit late. And after that region came into the reign of the Muslims, and the Prophet Ali has made the first organization, and so this organization went on like that, but the Prophet Muhammad was the one who carried out the farewell Hajj, and during this farewell Hajj, he declared everything to the believers about things to be done during the Hajj duty. So the security and the accommodation services should be carried out by the organization, and of course, this organization, if this organization is carried out in the best way, then it provides security, the feeling of security, confidence, and also reputation for the ones who prepared it, who was in the organization. The Prophet Ali in Hijri 9 year, the emir was and the emir and there was another emir, Muawiye, also appointed another person, Muawiye, with Yezid bin Şeceriye was appointed, and Muawiye appointed many people with on horseback to provide the security for the Hajj crowd. And then later on, they decided that the Ottoman Empire would organize this duty.
Bu durum bu yılda hac idarede, Muğla'da şubede sanki Emevilerin bir görevlisiymiş gibi algılamasına neden olmaktadır.
The
sefer Muaviye bin Ebu Süfyan henüz Hazreti Hasan'la biat almamış. Halife olmamış ve Emevilik
At
kurulmamıştır.
those times,
Dolayısıyla
actually,
bütün bu
Muawiyah did
hadiselerden
not
geçirmeden
get
sadece
the
hac yolu olarak haca
appointment
geçmenin, Emevi
from the
Emevi sultanı
predecessor
tarafından
and was
değerlendirildiğinde
not the emir.
bir önceki yıl olan
So,
yani 39.
the
yıldan yapılan Muaviye
organization
teşebbüsünde bir
in
teşebbüs olarak
the year
değerlendirilmektedir. Çünkü
39 was
Emevi
only
şurası
an
sadece
attempt,
Baboca, Taif'tedir, aktif siyaset içerisinde değildir.
and
Osmanlı'nın yapıldığı
at
gibi
those times that
aktif bir
person
şekilde
was not
işleyilen bir
in
hac emiri
the
olarak
political
resmedilmektedir.
scene at those times.
Emevi Devleti Hicri 40. yılına kurulmuş
During
ve
the
bu tarihten itibaren hac emiri
Emevi
görevlendirmesi
state,
başlamıştır. Bu
the
süreç
Hajj
içerisinde devlet yönetiminde
organization
adama seçim
started,
olmuş ve yönetilmesi
and
64
the
yılında Mervanilere
administration
geçmiştir.
uh,
Her
passed
dönemde de
on to
Beyoğlu
Merwanis later on
oğullarına mensup
in the
kişilerin
year
hac emiri olarak
62.
tercih edildikleri anlaşılmalar
And
vardır. Biz bu çalışmamızda
in our
Muaviye
study,
dönemini
we
büyük
studied the
büyük bir
Sufyani
dönemdeki hac görevlerini
period, which
resmetmektedir.
lasted
Hatta
23
kamera
years.
gösterebilirsek şöyle bir
If
tablo yaptık. Her yılı
the camera can
Muaviye
take this, here
hükümetinin iki
we are
takvimleri vardır.
showing
İki ayrıntılı
it
olarak.
on a table.
Kaynaklarımız
Our
Emeviler kısa tarihten
resources
başlarlar.
were
Hani böyle
the
kaynaklar
early
ve hani böyle tarihçilere göre,
periods
süreçlere göre
Islami
hac emirleri tek tek vermeye
resources,
çalıştık.
and we tried to
Tablolarını, iki tabloları
determine the
göstererek çalışmamızı anlatmaya çalışarak
emirs
kolaylık
of Hajj organization,
çerçeve yaptık.
and
Bunun haricinde tabloları değerlendirdiğimizde
we
biz soru
evaluated
kolaylık açısından
these
da şöyle bir sonuç çıkardık.
tables. The
Hicri
result is
44
that
Mervan bin Hakem,
in Hijri
44'te
44,
Muaviye bin Ebu Süfyan, 45'te Mervan bin
Muawi
Hakem, 46'da Utbe bin Ebu Süfyan,
um,
49'da Said bin Elas,
in
57'de Ebu
49
Bekir'in hükümünde ve
uh,
63'te de
in
66
certain
kişi
years,
kesin olarak hac emirliği yapmışlardır.
uh,
Yani bu
these
tabloya
the
göre
people
8
I
yıl hac
uttered
emirinden
their names,
Emevi devleti
they
iktifat edilmiştir.
made their duty.
Süfyanlar döneminde
They
3 ayrı
realized
görev
their
yapmıştır. Hazreti
duty.
Sa'd bin
There,
Muavi ile Yezid
during
hem
the
hac görevini
MEV
hem de hac
period,
görevlendirmesini
three
yapmıştır. Bazı yıllarda kimin hac
people
emiri olduğu konusunda
were the
ihtilaf olduğunu
emirs.
görülmektedir. Bunun
Sometimes there
başlıca
are
sebebi
contradictory
hem Muaviye hem
ideas
de Yezid dönemindeki
because
mali
during
atamalardır.
Yazid and
Bunları göreceksiniz.
during the
Tablolarda 11 tane hac emiri adı geçmektedir. Bunlara
Muawiya
kısaca
period,
isimler verdik.
the governors
Birincisi
were
Muaviye bin Ebu
different,
Süfyan'dır, halifedir.
uh, and
Süfyanların
three
emirleri
governors were
tarafından.
appointed.
Yezid bin Muaviye var ikinci olarak. Muaviye'nin oğludur.
Yazid
Hac
bin
görevini
Muawiya
veliaht olarak
is
yapmıştır. Yani veli olarak
Muawiya's
yapmıştır.
son.
Utbe bin Ebu
He
Süfyan
was not
Muaviye'nin kardeşidir.
a
Amcası bin Ebu Süfyan Muaviye'nin
caliphate.
kardeşidir. Muhammed bin Ebu Süfyan Muaviye'nin kardeşidir. Osman bin
So
Maz'un
they were
Muaviye'nin yeğenidir.
uh,
Velid bin Utbe Muaviye'nin
the
yeğenidir.
from the
Mervan bin
family.
Hakem,
Some of them
Hazreti
were
Osman'ın amca
sons
kızıdır.
or
Utbe bin
nieces,
Utbe Muaviye ile
nephews.
Yezid kardeştir.
So they were
Hazreti Osman Hazreti
brothers,
Hakan'ın konumundadır.
and also
Said bin
the
Elas
clerkship
Emevi
appeared in
oğullarındandır.
this line
Bu
of
Hazreti Osman'ın
uh,
damadı ancak
emirs,
Hazreti Peygamber'in kızları olan
and
Hindistan'da Ükey'den olan kızlarından değil başka bir eşinden olan kızlarından damadıdır.
one of them is
Ahmet bin Said ise yine Said bin Elas'ın
son-in-law,
oğludur.
for example,
Abdülaziz İbni ise
uh,
Emevi oğullarından değildir.
and
Hazreti Zübeyir bin Avvam'ın oğludur. Hazreti Ebu Bekir'in kızı Esma'dan torunudur.
so they are all
Hacı kurallarına baktığımızda
relatives.
senin
When
bildiğince
we see the Hajj
Muaviye'nin 40 yıldır yaptığı
practices,
hac hariç diğer yıllarda yaptığı
Muawiye
haçların tamamıyla itiraf edilmiştir.
organized Hajj
Dolayısıyla
for
kesin olarak
44
Muaviye'nin en
years.
az binden fazla hac yaptığıdır.
But
Kesinlikle
that
eminim
means
geçmişteki
that
yıllarda hem
Muawiye
Muaviye hem de
organized
torunu Ebu Yezid
more
hac
than
geçmektedir.
one Hajj
Ancak bu yıllar Yezid'in babası tarafından
organizations.
veliaht edilme düşüncesinin
Uh,
yüze çıkmaya başladığı ve veliaht için hazırlığa geçildiği yıllardır.
and
Dolayısıyla ittifak olmakla birlikte Muaviye oğlu Yezid veliaht kaybetmeden önce onun Müslümanlar nezdinde itibarını yükseltmek için ilk önce İslam'ın
Muawiye appointed his son as the crown prince, and in Hijri 50 year, Yazid would be the Hajj emir.
Hac ile emiriyle ilgili kaynaklara yeterli derecede
there are not enough information in the resources about this, but during this Hajj organization, Muaviye, and he also ordered for the sacred things. They had to keep the sacred things. So they were taking it to Damascus, for example. So there were some problems about these. Muawiya is seen in the resources. It is definite that he organized two Hajj organizations in the resources in the year 56. He organized two Hajj and also Umre, and then he decided to appoint the crown prince, and he made some meetings with people which is outside Medina. The people of Medina were not aware of what he said to the others. The Medina people learned that Yazidi, Muaviye Yazidi would be appointed, and they objected to this decision. Muawiye with the military forces went there and met Her Highness Ayşe and some other highnesses like His Highness Ebu Bekir, and he tried to persuade them in this, but he couldn't. He died, and then Yazid took over his position. He was not very responsible, but his period was a problematic one, and Medine was under siege, and lots of sons of the important people were martyred, and Kabe, Medine, Mecca was under siege, and Kabe was burned, and the news about the death of Yazid reached there, and then the second Muawiya took the reign, and after 2 years of reigning, he left this job. So the period of Sufyani ended, and then it was taken by Merwanis. As for the Sufyani's period, in Mescid-i Nebevi, some constructions were made to enlarge the area. Some services were present at those times. Muawiye ordered that, for example, that Mescid-i Haram would be lighted and would smell good with the scent of flowers, and he wanted to distribute Zemzem water. And when somebody objected, then he distributed this water in the valley to the people. Muaviye, when he went to Mecca, he did he bought some place and he made it his private estate. After Hicrat, Akil bin Ebu Talib became the emir. After Muawiye came into force, he bought this house, and there's also a mimbar, and he used this mimbar to address people. We have 2 minutes. And Khalifa Yezidi period was the period when the cover of the Kabe was put on the Kabe, and some stones were paved in the area. So Mecca and Medine and the other sacred places were not served with these services were not carried out in those places, and the martyring of the Prophet Hussein and Kabe was struck by the catapults. So these sort of things happened in those periods. Thank you very much.